Welcome to Factorio Friday Facts. My name is Nilaus, and this is a reaction and review of the latest two Factorio posts about VULCANUS. First about how it looks, and then also about how it works. And when I heard about the introduction of new planets, my first thoughts, well, I had some questions. I also mentioned that in one of my first videos. I had some questions about what does that mean? What is it gonna be look like? So basically those questions are, first of all, how does it feel? How does it look and feel different from playing on Novice? So that's one big issue. Let's play the next one of those videos here. The second one is, how are we going to be incentivized to actually build here, so we don't just make mining outposts and bring stuff home to our existing factory with all of the built-in logistics and trains and stuff like that. And then thirdly, what do we how do we make sure that the factories we build on the new planet or the new planets are going to be different and exciting compared to the ones we already have? Like, if we have to do the same thing again, it's going to be boring. So good news is those questions have been answered in terms of VULCANUS for us in this in these two posts. So that's going to be really exciting. So let's dive in. If you find these reviews and reactions interesting, be sure to hit the like button. If you for some reason haven't subscribed, consider subscribing as well. And of course, if there are some things you disagree with or some things you feel I missed, then be sure to leave a comment below. So what's the look and feel of VULCANUS? Well, it's a hot planet, so there are certain expectations, certain tropes that comes with the territory of a hot planet. That comes with burned out, no vegetation or little vegetation, lava, you know, those kind of things. And it is, our wish has been granted, our expectations have been met. This is what we see. If you are over 30 years old, or like retro gaming, I guess you could call it that, then you can squint a little bit and recognize that this is just Planet Char from StarCraft. And I don't mind. It's perfectly fine, fine planet, except for the Zerg, which is another thing that's a little bit interesting here. But that's something we don't know anything about. But yeah, they're adding tile sets. But if I'm looking at these tile sets, it's just 50 Shades of Grey without the kink, and honestly, 50 Shades of Grey without kink is nothing really exciting. So I don't get excited about the look and feel of it. I know it's put a lot of effort into it, but that's not why I'm playing the game. I don't think anyone plays the game for... I play Factorio for the scenery and the aesthetics. The aesthetics and beauty of the game comes from your factory when they are well working like a well-oiled machine, and that's what you expect. So from the overall perspective, we get a hot planet. It does what hot planets are expected to do. Yes, there are some sulfur geysers that are a little bit interesting, that you can mine sulfuric acid directly, which is pretty neat. Not enough of a reason to move all our battery production here, I would imagine. But, you know, it's interesting nonetheless that we can do these kind of things and trying to sort of break up the monotony a little bit. If we just look at this overlay map, it's pretty cool that they have starting mountains, starting ashlands, starting lava basin, and this ashlands is more open, so that's probably where you want to build your factory. Pretty good that they make a location that's open, because the rest of the map is not open. If you look at the map and all those little light brown lines, they are cliffs, and they're everywhere, and they are absolutely horrendous. And yeah, not a big surprise. I'm not a big fan. Why? Because I love building factories. I don't like getting stuck in these rectangular boxes that are not displayed rectangular, and you bump into them all the time and you can't remove them. And that's just not... I'm not a big fan of cliff explosives in the base game, and they sort of doubled down and made everything into cliff explosives. And on top of that, or cliffs, and then on top of that, they removed cliff explosives, or sort of gated them behind one of the planets. Oh, that bothers me for one reason. Well, it bothers me for two reasons. First, I find it a little bit annoying, but the second reason is that it feels to me like the developers built this and then realized that that's not what the players want. And instead of sort of giving us what we want, then they were like, no, we spent the time on building it, so you're going to spend the time enjoying it. It kind of sort of reminiscent a little bit from Satisfactory, where the sort of expectation is that you build your factories in the canyons and sort of make room for them. But that's not the greatest way of building it. If you play Satisfactory as a factory game, you just want sky platforms so you can build your factory in peace. And that's kind of, that option isn't here. Here you kind of just go like, well, I guess I have to make do with the space. And just allow us the option. Some people will want to work on this and just get lost and try to squeeze in a little factory here, and other people just want to build a nice, neat factory. That's me. I don't think there's a, I don't know. I think it's definitely a personal preference. It's a very strong personal preference for me. I know that a lot of people will see it differently. Let me know in the comment section below. What do you feel about the excessive use of cliffs, and on top of the removal of cliff explosives from sort of this tier, which means you have to be getting here and getting stuck. I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting choice. Let's see how it pans out. But you could probably just slide it down a little bit when generating the map as well. So that being said, with the conclusion on the look and feel, it is exactly what you expect from a hot planet. It has lava. It has vast open spaces, and well, not vast open spaces, but also has these cliffs. And I guess we'll just dive into that. So more interesting is, how does it actually play? So when you start building factories on VULCANUS, what is the thing that makes it different from your existing factory on any other planet, and what is the advantage of building on VULCANUS? And the answer is basically this machine. The Foundry is a unique new machine that is added. It's something you get as you get to VULCANUS, and it allows you a few things. It allows you to process ore into molten, so you actually see here molten iron and copper coming out. Very interesting. Also, on top of that, you can see that it pumps lava directly in, and this means that on this planet you don't have iron and copper deposits. You get that from the lava directly, and I think that's pretty damn cool that you have to just think about something else in a different way. I also would imagine like lava is like water, so it's unlimited, which means that as long as you have a flow of lava coming in, then you have infinite iron and copper. There's also the part you can see here, the stone is just being thrown back into the lava and then just disappears in a puff of smoke, which is pretty cool as well. Very interesting that you can just get rid of things. That's something new that they have added, that you can just get rid of stuff instead of sort of managing that yourself. But that means we now have to think about logistics for iron and copper in terms of also liquids, and that's interesting. So that already starts making new designs and new building. And on top of that, this new building, it can do lava, it can do things. It can also skip a process. So that means you can actually get to a point where you are, where you're taking the process in. Let's see if we can find that here. There we go. So you can see it can make plates, or it can make gears directly from the molten lava. It can make wire from the lava, or it can make low density structure. So you can make actually the low density structure that you need for making another rocket part. And it looks amazing, and I think this is great because it allows you to sort of more flexibility, a bigger machine that can do more stuff. It skips a step, but remember, if you skip a step here, even though you can have probably more modular slots in here, probably more than 2, but what about, usually you would do the plating in a furnace, and that would be 2 inventory slots, and then you would do the gears, and that would be 4 modular slots. So you can get a hell of a lot of productivity here. If you collapse it into one step, you get potentially less productivity, but you know, maybe that's a smaller issue with quality also being a part of it as well. So it's something to keep in mind, but I think this is definitely something that will come in handy and just be so much easier to work with in a lot of builds here. So this is super exciting. But it gets better than that, because the Foundry has a built-in 50% productivity bonus. That is insane, and that's enough of a reason to use this for pretty much everything. And I think this is the essence of this this building. This is how the buildings are going to be different. You get to VULCANUS and you unlock these machines, the Foundry, then you start using them. You can bring the Foundry and the big mining drill back to all the other planets, which is really nice. So I like that. You go to a planet, you unlock some things, and those will also be relevant for the next one, which means that at some point you might think about, well, what extra new items do I want to unlock first? Because that's what helps you in, maybe it'll be like, oh, my smelting columns are just going to be so much nicer and easier if I just unlock the Foundry. So let's go to VULCANUS first, instead of going to, I don't know, icy planet or something, because it's going to be an icy planet, obviously. I think this is super exciting. And there's also another thing, the big mining drill. Let's have a look at that one. That looks like this. It's really cool. It really reminds me of the one from Space Exploration, which is also great. It's bigger. It has 13 by 13, and this is ground level 5 by 5. So 13 by 13 is a lot. It's 4 on either side, which means makes it exactly like the one in Space Exploration. Coincidence. It's faster. It's 5 times as fast. That's pretty good. It has 4 modular slots, and on top of that, it has a reduced ore drain. So it only uses 50% as much ore as a normal mining drill. So that's a huge productivity bonus as well. The thing though is, because it's faster, it's very likely going to be when not when placed on a tungsten. You can see the tungsten here, it comes out really slowly. But if we look at this location, you can see that it comes out pretty damn quick in some of these cases. And it's very likely that you'll end up in a position where it's coming out too fast. And therefore you need to put it into splitters, or you need to put it into boxes. So that's going to be an interesting challenge, especially when you get really high mining productivity bonus. I think there was, no, this is one. Oh, there we go. That's the one. The iron ore comes out really quickly from this one, and actually too quickly to keep up. So if we sort of take a step back and think about what will be different from the way we built our factories previously. Well, on VULCANUS there are no iron and copper deposits. So you have to use lava in a foundry to get those items, and you can throw the rest of them back into the lava again. So that means that's going to be different. There's no default mining, smelting of that kind. It has to be using liquids and the molten iron coming out, and that has to be distributed. So the smelting setups are going to be different. Also, the fact that you can skip some steps, so going directly to gears or steel or wire, is really cool. So those are making things very different, and you can of course bring them back home. The fact that you can use lava means that you have an infinite resource. I'm assuming it's an infinite resource for mining. I hope it's still very efficient. The mining drills and the foundry being unlocked and being something you can take back to other planets is super interesting as well. Of course, you want to do the tungsten processing, and that's probably something that involves the foundry. We don't know anything about it, but it's the kind of the purpose of coming to VULCANUS is to unlock the metallurgic science, the orange science pack, and we don't know how to do that yet, but it is a nice orange blob there. That's all we know about it. So I'm super excited about this. There's also a new material called calcite that is used for sulfuric acid processing. Oh, sulfuric acid, what is it? Sulfuric acid neutralization. So probably how we get water, probably turning sulfuric acid plus calcite into stone and water would be my guess. That would make sense. Also needed for processing. So it's super interesting, all the things that are new, and it certainly means that I'm excited to make designs with the foundry, make designs with the mining drills, make also and also just making designs that are specific to VULCANUS in terms of sort of using lava to make an efficient process. I'm imagining that a jumpstart base, that you land on this planet and you build your first foundries and you just stamp it down, and then you get the lava in, and then you sort of have a little hub that unfolds itself. I can imagine someone designing that and putting it into a masterclass. So I'm really excited about all the things about how it plays. I'm not super excited about going back to char from a graphical perspective. I'm certainly not excited about getting stuck on damn cliffs for hours upon hours. But the actual gameplay and the factory building, which is why we play Factorio in the first place, right, is super exciting. And I'm very happy that they are putting in an effort and they are aware of this fact that they don't want it to be repeating 4 times over the same kind of factory, but they'll be different. It'll also probably mean that if you don't go to VULCANUS as your first planet, then as you go there for the second planet, then you suddenly unlock the foundry, and then does that mean you go back to your first planet, first extra planet, and redo your smelting columns? That's up to you as a player, whether you want to do that for the additional productivity or you just want to keep it the way it is. I think that's a lot of good choices, and a lot of good choices that are not definitive. That's what we really like. We like having choices that are meaningful and sort of cater to our way of playing whether that's city blocks, whether that's building big, mega basing, spaghetti, bus, like whatever it is. It's great to have options for doing this, and having those options not with a million different new buildings, but with one new building that can be used for many different things. So super excited about these changes and really looking forward to getting my my hands on other than trying it in a year's time. I don't know. So I hope you enjoyed this review and this reaction video to the latest information about the first of the new planets, Volcanus. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, take care and stay effective.